Welcome back to In the Jar, where a friendly face ain't far. Now come on down, take your seat. We're not going to have a cigar. I stopped doing that months ago because this damn room started smelling so bad. I like to enjoy a cigar every now and then, but a nice 6 milligram in the top right corner of your lip will do just fine for a program like this one. We're going to talk about Week 9 highlights. We'll start to show off with a couple of the best plays from Week 9. Get into some social media clips of the week. Later on in the show, we'll talk about trades that have happened right here before the deadline as we shoot this show. I might have to refresh the page to see exactly what else has gone on since clicking record. Make sure you go right below this video if you happen to be on here at the right time. Like, comment what you want more out of the show. And please, for the love of God, it helps the living you-know-what out of the show. Click subscribe. It takes half a second. All right. Best plays of the week right here, right now. I had to kind of hit a crash course catching up on Week 9 because I was in Zion, Utah with my lady, Zion National Park. And I'll digress for just a second. Living in Phoenix, Arizona, you get the chance to see a lot of really marvelous natural stuff. Sedona, Flagstaff. Right here in Phoenix, you got the Southern California coast over to your west. You got New Mexico to your east, which is a decently pretty state. It's actually very pretty. But nothing I have seen in living in Phoenix for more than 3 years now even comes close to touching the beauty of Zion. So we spent the weekend there enjoying time with my gal, and we spent Sunday coming back. So I was limited to Red Zone on the phone sitting in the middle console. Let me tell you, there's a couple products. Might plug it in the description. I haven't bought it yet, but it seems like a really cool concept. It's like a little box, and it goes in your car. You plug it into the USB in your car, and it's supposed to present whatever video content that you're playing on your phone on the main console in your car. Obviously, car manufacturers don't do this because it's unsafe. I think if you do it the right way, you could watch you some Joe Rogan on a road trip, maybe watch more football on Sunday than I would have liked to. But nonetheless, we hit a crash course. So we're going to break everything down from Week 9, starting now. This is the best play of possibly the season so far. Saquon Barkley, reverse hurdle. Here's the call.
Moves right here, makes the first guy miss. The spin move at the last second, and then
right there,
what? Tiki, you're right. What is that,
bro? He turned around and jumped over him.
And you got a guy like this that makes a play like that. Saquon Barkley, reverse hurdle, something in all my life watching football I've never seen. Okay, I was never an offensive guy. Really, after my sophomore year of high school playing tight end and Y on JV. But even in those days, man, it was like, ooh, can my white ass hurdle somebody without getting hit in the nuts, getting the crown of the helmet right up into your nuts? That was always my greatest fear of hurdling. It's not something I've ever done. I always wanted to do it in intramural flag football after my playing days. But it was against the rules because it was also considered unsafe, I guess, without pads on. But it's like, dude, they asked Saquon after the game. They were like, what was going through your mind during that play? And the answer is the same for every athlete. I can answer to this playing football for all my life. I can answer to this as a part-time MMA practitioner. You make a really cool takedown or a really cool, combo in sparring or like I said, even a great football play. They ask him, what was going through your mind? And the answer is the same. Nothing's going through your mind. That's what allows you to make a play like Saquon did on the reverse hurdle. Nothing's going through your mind. You're just playing. And that's exactly what Saquon said he was doing. He was like, hey, man, I was just playing ball, and I felt it, and I sent it. And that's just, to me, a reverse hurdle from Saquon Barkley is simply years and years and years of mental reps, of physical reps, embedded into your subconscious. Because then, when it's embedded into your subconscious, it's just like driving. That play, for instance, you're not exercising your conscious mind in that moment. You're letting the subconscious take over. And what lies in the subconscious, which is 80% of our brain's activity, is in the subconscious mind. It's embedded skills. It's embedded behaviors. It's embedded knowledge that you're able to just call on at a moment's notice because it's deep down in there. So I don't get when these reporters, they ask, I mean, I get it. It's a great play. You're trying to get some content. You're trying to get discussion going around these plays like this. But it all comes down to, I've done this 10,000 times. I've probably done it 100,000 more in my head. And when the moment was right to do it, it just happened. Bang. Don't even think about it. It's like, I think about this. Why is it that when you're driving down the road that you're able to listen to an audiobook, listen to a podcast, and retain that information? It would make sense that since we as humans are not multitaskers, I don't care who says, somebody that says they're a good multitasker might be a dynamic task switcher going from one thing to the next. But nobody can do two things at the same time unless, and I'm digressing here, unless one of the things is embedded into your subconscious. And so I go back to what I was saying. When you're driving down the road and you're still able to simultaneously absorb a podcast, I know that if my girlfriend's talking to me and I'm on social media, one's gonna get listened to and the other's just kind of gonna be a waste of activity. So normally you scroll on social media, your girlfriend starts talking to you, you put away the phone and you listen, because you know if you're scrolling through social media, that dopamine hit's probably going to take priority in your brain, and everything she just said is going to get one ear and out the other. So, I'm kind of digressing here, but driving is an activity that is deeply embedded in all of us. It's something each and every one of us, for the most part, do every day. That's what allows your brain the ability and the capability in terms of energy to be able to use the conscious brain activity on something else. The thing that's so beautiful about athletics, not just football, athletics or athletic activity, is that I feel like your subconscious mind is turned on and your conscious mind is turned off. That's why exercise is so therapeutic. That's why exercise of any kind, well, I don't know. Because sometimes when you're lifting, you start to have some thoughts. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going to check the camera here. Other big play of the week. Titans, Patriots. Here we go. I thought it was over right here. And then again there. Okay, so Titans end up coming out with the dub in that game. That was a play that I saw with my own eyes as it was going down. And like I mentioned while the clip was going, there were 2 or 3 times in that play where I thought Drake Maye was dead in the water, especially given the fact that you're looking at a rookie in that moment. You're looking at the prospects of a dire season becoming even more dire. And then you get that glimmer of hope. And then the Titans come out on top. It's hard to win in this league. It's very hard. And I don't know if Drake Maye was just having problems finding an open guy. I'm sure that was part of it. He had all the time in the world, and he still had to make a couple guys miss. That's really damn frustrating as a pass rusher. When you're there, you get there, and then you miss. I can speak better than anybody on that. You get home, you get the chance to make a play, and it just doesn't happen for you sometimes. A guy on the other side might make a good play. You might make a mistake. But Drake Maye should have probably been sacked twice in the sequence of that play. It was like a 15-second play. Titans end up coming out on top. What else is – league recap. We got the Jets beating the Texans 21-13. Panthers come out on top against the struggling, toppling Saints. Saints lost 7 straight. Dennis Allen gets fired. Saints trade away Marshawn Lattimore. We'll talk about that later in the show. Commanders come out 27-22 against the Giants, and Jaden Daniels' resurgence continues as one of the most historic, probably, rookie seasons for a quarterback ever so far. Bills come out on top. Chargers come out on top. Falcons beat the Cowboys in a game that didn't even seem close. My Bengals, we get a much-needed win against the Raiders at home. Finally get a win at home. Joe Burrow goes for 5 touchdown passes. We'll get into all this later on. But, dude, you're starting to see the cream rise. You're starting to see teams like the Detroit Lions go from good to great. You start seeing teams that are in the middle of the pack kind of trying to figure out where they stand. I know there's a schedule circled Thursday night game coming up. Should be tonight, depending on when we drop this. Bengals Ravens. Ravens get a really big win over the Broncos, and we'll show clips from that game later on. Cardinals beat the hell out of the Bears, 29-9. I think the Cardinals are maybe a team that is getting slept on a lot. I think the NFC West is one of the most wide-open divisions in football right now. I think each team in the NFC West is separated by 1 game. That might be the most wide-open division in football right now. Indianapolis continues to struggle. They drop another one to the Vikings, 13-21. Questions at the quarterback position. You got the severe end of both extremes in the Colts quarterback room. You got a young quarterback with a lot of ability in Anthony Richardson that probably doesn't have the reps he needs, probably never has. And then you got a veteran presence in Joe Flacco, who's been there before, done that before, but his bones might just be a little bit too dilapidated, dude. So Indy's in a tough spot. I think what Indy tried to do, I think what the Colts tried to do is emulate what Philly has done with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. And Steichen comes over as the head coach from being the OC with the Eagles, and they see a combine superstar of a quarterback in Anthony Richardson, and they think, okay, we're going to replicate what Sirianni's done in Philly with Jalen Hurts. And it just hadn't worked out like that. You saw what happened last week. We talked about it where Anthony Richardson kind of mentally checked out for a rep during a game. It's like, dude, I remember during practice, it's like I had to take a shit a lot of the time during practice, and it was just I was so scared to miss a practice rep that I would hold it. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know if many veterans, accomplished veterans in the NFL, would get a pass to step out for a rep because they're tired, let alone an unproven rookie that is really where he's at on account of his potential. What else? Buccaneers, they looked like their season was doomed when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin went down. And albeit they have dropped the last 2 games since those guys got hurt, but they put up a fight in each of those games. They put up a fight against the Chiefs on Monday night last night, or for you guys a couple nights ago. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, the Cowboys are really a team that is looking like Mike McCarthy should be on the hot seat. The Giants are continually downsliding. The Browns are continually downsliding. They just traded away Jadeveon Clowney, which, again, we'll talk about later. Bills look hot. Lions look hot. Falcons, I think, are surprisingly one of these teams that you might have to look out for. The city of Atlanta deserves a great team for the culture. You know what I'm saying? They got Kirk O'Bangs back there talking walk in your trap, take over your trap. And it's been too long since Atlanta's really had a great team to get behind. I mean, really the last time I think about a hot Atlanta Falcons team was when Mike Vick was in his prime, back when I was a little munchkin at 8 or 9 years old, you know, and they finally got something to swag surf to in Atlanta. They finally got a little bit of juice behind what they're doing with Darnell Mooney and Bijan Robinson. I can't stand Atlanta Falcons. That came out wrong. I can't stand. I don't mind the Falcons. Let me say that. I'm digging myself out of a hole here with my Atlanta listeners. What I was trying to say was I can't stand the Atlanta Falcons rebranded uniforms. I wish they would go back to what they had with Vic, like that simple, the font of those numbers with the outlining. They had a red concept. They had a black concept. The white concept with the red numbers and letters was even fire. I can't stand the Atlanta Falcons' current uniforms. I don't know if I'm alone in that. I'd love to hear some thoughts from Atlanta Falcons fans on that. Like, I might do a Twitter poll and see if anybody responds to it. If they do, put it on the show next week. Like, it's got to be 9 out of 10 fans that think that the Falcons' current uniforms are definitely worse than the ones in the Vic era. I feel that way about certain teams and their uniforms. Some teams have really done a good job rebranding, though. Okay, we're going to move into the next segment. We got social media clips of the week. Let's start it off with what's the word I'm looking for? Nostalgic deep cut for yours truly about one of, in my opinion, the most underrated receivers in the history of pro football.
There's only one person who had consistent success against Revis, and that was Stevie Johnson. Anytime I have an opportunity to talk about receivers, about running routes, man, he's one of them ones. Man, listen. So I can sit there and watch his releases, his route running. dog, in amazement. One of the best to ever do it.
I feel like, Chad hit the nail on the head. It's like when you think of guys that have the ability to load up their feet and not waste movement, it's sort of really uncommon. I think of someone like Antonio Brown. I think of someone like Chad. I think the reason Chad really admires Stevie Johnson's work is because Chad was like that too. Chad Johnson's feet at the line of scrimmage were really the difference maker of what got him open a lot of the time. You know, he said he used to tell DBs what route he was running, and he would still get open. Stevie Johnson holds a special place in my heart because he was a member of that 2007 University of Kentucky football team. I grew up going to every Kentucky home football game, a lot of the away games too. And that 2007 season with the Cats was really special. I mean, start out the season playing number 9 Louisville, unranked team. Stevie Johnson scores a touchdown late in the game. It blew the damn top off of the place. I remember it like it was yesterday. So that was kind of the moment where you're like, okay, this Kentucky team's pretty good. Fast forward to October, they got number 1 LSU, the eventual national champs, at home again. Game goes into 3 overtimes. Stevie Johnson catches the game-winning touchdown, I believe, to beat number 1 LSU. And then the next week, University of Kentucky's number 9 in America. This is in 2007. Tim Tebow comes to town and just shuts everything down. And I think that team only ended up going like 7-5. But there were more than 10 pros on that Kentucky team. Guys that had good careers too. Wesley Woodyard, Jacob Tamme, Steve Johnson. I don't know if Keenan Burton he didn't really have that much of a pro career. But there are a couple other guys I'm probably missing too. That's the thing. So that's just kind of a nostalgic take for me. I posted that on Twitter earlier this week and thought I'd throw it on the show. Somebody responded, get this nostalgic ass take out of here. And I was like, you know what, dude, you're probably right. What's the next deal? We got Nick Saban discussing spending time versus investing time. Now, here's the thing. Saban has dropped gem after gem. I'm talking like when I'm logged into the In the Jar Instagram account, a new Saban quote comes up that I haven't heard. Here's the video. It's worth listening.
You're going to have to work and invest your time. Now, there's two things you can do with your time. You can invest your time or you can spend it. Some of you guys are not paying attention right now. You're just spending your time. When you play Nintendo at home, are you investing time or spending it? Spending it. When you study, so you make good grades, so you can go to college someday, are you investing your time? Sure. Yes, you are. You're investing your time. When you work and try to do things the right way in this camp, are you investing your time? When you sit home and watch TV, you spending or investing? Spending. All right, so my next question is, which one of these do you do the most? I'm asking you to invest your time in the vision of what you want to do. What's important to you? And I know you can invest in one thing. That's getting an education. That's the one thing.
Okay. I don't know, man. I think there's there's wisdom in what he said there. I think there's a lot of gray area in spending time versus investing time too. Like even in that clip, he said, when you're playing your Nintendo, are you spending time or are you investing time? He said you're spending it. Well, here's the thing, and he might not have known this at the time. I was just listening to Joe Rogan and Elon Musk this morning, just a little bit of their podcast. And Joe Rogan hit Elon with a statistic that said that video games can enhance a surgeon's ability to do their job by up to 32%. I don't know how you measure that. I don't know what study that they probably, I don't want to get in the weeds, but there's a way to measure that. Okay, so are you spending or investing time playing video games? I would argue sometimes you're investing it. You're investing in your own happiness. You're getting yourself in a little flow state, and you're probably enhancing your neural connections in regards to hand-eye coordination. If you do hands-on work, especially playing video games, will probably enhance the quality of your work. So, again, I think Saban's talk there was wise, but I think is very black and white. I think there's some gray matter in there. If you're watching TV and you come across a program, maybe it's this one, that nourishes your soul, okay, are you still spending time? I'd argue you're investing it. But the challenge that lies in this concept is what's important to you, how do you get that thing that's important to you, and how are you consistent? How consistent are you in showing up to honing that skill set to achieve whatever's important to you day to day? If it's being a world-class surgeon, playing video games might be a time investment. If you're watching In the Jar podcast on your TV, having a smoke late at night before you drift off to a beautiful sleep, you might be investing your time. If you go and get an education, and our flawed education system tells you got to declare a major at age 18, and you decide to study something that's totally irrelevant to the rest of your life's path, which happens a lot, and you're sitting in class for all that time in those 4 years, are you spending time or are you investing it? I'd argue that I spent a lot of time in class in college, and that might be on me. In my personal experience, I'm a lot farther along in regards to focus, mental toughness, all those different kinds of traits. I feel personally that I'm a lot farther along now than I was in college. And that might just be a clarity, a better clarity of priorities, you know. But I think spending time versus investing time is not that black and white. You got to figure out what's important to you. What we got next? This is a good one. This is the clip of the week.
Trying to get our two boys ready to carry them to the golf tournament before practice, right? 12 cats live across the road. Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door, but the screen's broke, so you can come in through the screen, but you can't get back out of it. I turn and look, there's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. So I said, "What are you doing in here, little kitty cat?" By that time, the cat turns, tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going, meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, "What's going on?" I said, "There's a cat in the house." "Cat in the house?" I said, "Yeah, there's a cat in the house." So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, meow, the cat's still going crazy in there. And I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow, looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog.
Be a dog.
We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
We need more dogs, baby. Ow, 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 ow. Dude, that story was so fucking incoherent. I'm sorry. But the way he lays it out, you just want to buy in. Be a dog. Don't want no kitty cat. Meow, meow, meow. I get what he's saying. I love cats. I used to not. Now I'm a cat dad. You know, I got a couple cats. And they do things well, and they don't do some things well. And then you got the dogs. I've grown up with dogs. I've never not loved dogs, except a few particular dogs. They got things they do well, and they got things they don't do well. They might be a dog. It might be quick to action, but not many of them think about the repercussions of their actions. They just jump in. And that might be a positive thing in itself, depending on the context. I mean, shit. If your dog's not trained to smell a rattlesnake and he runs up on one in the Arizona desert thinking, oh, who's this fool? I might have to smoke this fool. And then you get bit right on the nose. That's a downfall of a dog's behavior. But a cat, I'm getting too granular here. We need dogs. I need a dog. It's just I don't know. I think the accent and the conviction and what coach is saying there is what really pulls that tail along. You know what I mean? My damn dog, Jasper, he gets out of the damn car sometimes. He'll see a cat in the neighborhood. He'll shoot down and chase that cat. And he doesn't want to hurt him. He just wants to play and bully, But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, a couple more moments from the week, and then we'll jump into some highly anticipated clips from the games. Wrap it up with trades, and then, yeah. So I came across something on my feed this week, and it was talking about the origin of team names. So I might throw a different one up here each episode for the next couple of weeks. I had to pick my Bengals to start this little mini-series off. So the Cincinnati Bengals, established 1968. Following his storied tenure in Cleveland, Paul Brown sought to field a new organization. Once granted, he received the name Bengals as a tribute to a former Cincinnati football team from the 1930s and 40s. Wasn't an NFL team. That original Bengals team name was inspired from a kitchen stove model, the Bengal stove, produced by the Floyd Wells Company. Because I always wondered, man, I was like, it's Cincinnati. Like, why are we called the Bengals? Couldn't we be called like the Germans or something that's a little more attuned to the history of the city? I was always like, why are we calling the Bengals? Ain't no Tigers in Ohio, other than the Bengals. Turns out it's named after a stove. And then you kind of think to yourself, oh, these team names might always not be as deep as you think they are. That's the thought I had when I was reading this. I was like, damn, dude, it's not that deep, is it? But it's a hell of a little series that this NFL historic page is doing. The Cincinnati Bengals, named after a stove. And it's getting hot in Cincinnati. It's getting hot. Teams getting hot. Weather's getting colder. We'll talk more about that. All right. This is probably my favorite headline of the week, okay? Baker Mayfield won't face discipline after using Zen on the sidelines. I saw some clips. And a lot of times you just catch a quick glimpse of a guy throwing a gum pillow in their lip. I'm glad Baker Mayfield's not facing discipline for that. Because guess what? When you throw a gum pillow in your lip, you're sending a signal to God, baby. You're saying, I want my nervous system to be christened with the divine focus of the gods. You're sending a signal to God. You're saying, God, I know that I don't always have the human capability to maintain focus to maintain discipline, to stay heavy-handed on the task in front of me. So I was on a roll there. I couldn't find a word. So I impinge you, God, to come down and massage this central nervous system of mine with this little 6 milligram pouch of assorted chemicals and salts. I'm glad Baker Mayfield's not facing discipline for that. Jim Harbaugh throws him in. I'm sure countless other guys throw him in. Hell, if Zyns were a thing when I played, I probably would have played with a Zyn in my lip. I knew some guys at Samford down in Birmingham that I would be standing, one of our running backs, he was a good dude. Look next to him, I smell wintergreen. He was in the middle of practice, and I was a walk-on, so I was, just trying to make it happen. Right? Didn't feel like I had time to think about throwing a dip in my lip or whatever. And then you think about having a dip in your lip and you hit somebody, and that's a whole different story, because what if that thing gets dislodged, it goes down your trachea, you start puking in practice. But lo and behold, I was standing next to one of our running backs, and I smelled wintergreen, and sure enough, he had a big fat one in the middle of his lip, getting ready to go out there and take some reps. And I thought, dude, I asked him, I said, dude, if you get hit, like, what happens? And he looked at me, he said, it is what it is, bruh. And then he just ran out there to take his reps. Didn't see him puking, so I guess it went well for him. All right. Let's see. All right. First game on tap. We got a couple big plays from the Eagles-Jags game. Here we go. This is the play that really raised a lot of questions to me.
And the gun. Lawrence back. Lawrence looks. Firing for the end zone. Intercepted the Kobe Dean. He picks it up in the end zone. No flags. The Eagles are going to escape.
Okay, so the thing about this game was that the Eagles were up 22-0, I believe. And on that play particularly, the Jags had pulled within one possession, and they were driving with about 1:40 left. But the question I have on the side of the Jaguars is, so, why are we going to our third-string running back in a passing situation with the game on the line? Why, with 1:40 on the clock on roughly the 15 in opposing territory, are we not trying to run the clock out? I get it. The back's got single coverage on a linebacker on the outside in the red zone. I do understand why the throw was made, but maybe Trevor Lawrence felt like it was there, and even though he knew that maybe the clock needed to be run down a bit more, that like this might be their shot, and he takes it. On the Eagles side, how in the hell do you let the Jags come back from down 3 possessions? Some Philly fan said that this is the most dead-in-the-water team with the best record I've ever seen in the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think that the Eagles are a contender. I've been wrong before. But it just seems like Nick Sirianni is always really worried about what everyone else is thinking about him. It seems like every play call he makes, it's to be like, hey, fans, you see that? You see that? Yeah. And it's like, just coach. I think a chip on your shoulder is good to some extent, but when you make every move with the ops in mind, I just don't think you're always going to be set up to make the best decisions. Devontae Smith made a hell of a catch. This clip says catch of the year. I think what's his name? Garrett Wilson probably made the catch of the year on Thursday night, and we'll show that here in a little bit. but this one doesn't have audio, so we can talk over it. Normally, he doesn't go for those throws. I think the toe tap is what made that play. I think it was the toe tap along with the one-handed catch. You know what I mean? And I think they were facing 3rd and long on this particular play. And then we got the Instagram thing. Jalen Hurts doesn't normally, just try and get it closer to field goal range on those 3rd and long plays. He tends to let it rip, And in that play, that worked out for him. I don't know why that clip said catch of the year. I think Garrett Wilson's catch on Thursday night against the Texans was the catch of the year. But nonetheless, Eagles come out on top, 28-23. They advance to 7-2, I believe. Bills beat the Dolphins late. Tyler Bass, I believe, missed an extra point earlier in this game. 61-yarder.
10 seconds remain. Snap by Ferguson, hold by Martin. Kick by Bass is long enough. And it is good! Bobs away for Tyler Bass, who bobs it from 61. It's a career best.
Okay, so turnovers were a concern for Josh Allen, I would think, based on his career going into the season. He is at 17 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the year. He's playing out of his mind. And I feel like he didn't get a lot of help from his defense on Sunday. Miami looked a lot better than I thought they were gonna in this game. And, he throws a ball to Keon Coleman in the red zone that I believe gets batted up and picked off, something like that. But Josh Allen is doing the damn thing. And I remember when I was in Buffalo a month or two ago for the Monday night game against the Jags, every Bills fan was telling me, yo, dude, Tyler Bass, the guy's terrible. We can't stand him, all this stuff. So hopefully Mr. Tyler Bass will get a beer or two, maybe a set of 12 wings on the house at Barbell over there in Buffalo, because you don't have a great game. You're kind of reaffirming throughout the course of this Bills-Dolphins game that it's going to be a rough day for old Tyler Bass. And you come out, game is in the waning seconds, you get a chance to win, you kick it from 61 yards, and he just drilled it. I think you got some Bills fans that are probably a lot happier with Tyler Bass after eking out a division game at home against the Miami Dolphins. The Bills continue to just dominate the Dolphins. They have now swept them again this season. What do we got next? Here's the ending to the Rams-Seahawks. Seahawks are at home, struggling a little bit. Let's see. What's the Seahawks record? Seahawks are 4-5. The Rams get back to 500 off of this overtime play.
Takes a snap, 2nd and 6, bootleg left side. He flips his hips, he fires, he's going deep. DeMarcus brought it in with one hand in the end zone for a walk-off touchdown. 39 yards. DeMarcus calls game. He sticks a right hand up, brings it in and pins it to his shoulder pad. And LA gets out of the Pacific Northwest with a 26-20 overtime win.
Don't the Rams always kind of seem like one of those sneaky teams? I definitely feel that way about them this season. They were riddled with injuries to start the year. They were struggling. I believe at one point they were 1-4 or something. And now they're back to 500. They got some healthy guys back in there. You got obviously one of the greatest minds in the game leading your organization as a head coach. And I don't know. I just have a weird feeling that the Rams could end up winning the NFC West, or at least getting a wild card spot in the NFC. You think about the NFC West. You got the Cardinals, you got the Seahawks, you got the Rams, and you got the Niners. Again, I said it earlier, might be one of the most wide open divisions in football. And that was a big win for them in the division against the Seahawks. Let's see what we got next here. All right. Lions-Packers. Score was 24-14. Score looks like it was way closer than it was. Lions dominated start to finish. They are red hot. It seems like Jared Goff's throwing as many touchdowns as he has incompletions every game. I think he only had about 140 yards passing this game, 1 touchdown pass, something like that. And we'll show the 1 touchdown pass he got. But here's a big play that I think was the turning point in this game between the Packers and the Lions.
Green Bay from their own 38. Love takes the shotgun snap. Lions bring a late blitz. Love back, looking, being chased. Love throw, picked off the line. Kirby Joseph, left side. He's gonna go, baby. Count it down. 5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, how big is that? How big is that? Packers trying for some late magic here, but it's the Lions that come in with a bolt of lightning. Pick 6.
How big is that? I love that guy's call, dude. I forget that guy's name. I think it was a local radio broadcast that was over top of that clip. I mean, dude, nothing gets better than a local radio AM guy calling the local team's game because you can feel the excitement. You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably got the house riding on their home team every week, and play like that happens, they just get fired up. But Kirby Joseph, I mean, can't say enough about this guy. I think he's one of the sneaky core components, maybe not so sneaky for Lion fans, of the Detroit Lions defense. Guy forces turnovers, he hits hard, and he was right in the mix there on what looked like a little screen. Takes it back to the house with less than a minute left in the first half, but I really do believe that was a turning point in the game. I mean, shit, man. You couldn't even look at this. Look at Aaron Glenn, one of the coordinators for the Lions. Can't even see out of his own damn glasses. It was raining so hard. I mean, it was one of those games. It was just, terrible weather in Green Bay. Lions, who are red hot, they don't let that get in the way of it. They keep on pushing. And they're an indoor team, right? They play indoors. But Dan Campbell said it best, like, we'll play in the snow, we'll play in the rain, we'll play in the mud. We just got to get it figured out every week. I love Dan Campbell. I really do. I everything about how he coaches, I love it. And he is perfect for the city of Detroit. Dan Campbell is a perfect head coach for the city of Detroit. It just kind of seems like the stars are aligning in Detroit, Michigan for some kind of Super Bowl run. I'd be really shocked if the Lions didn't at least make it to the NFC Championship game this season. I'd be really shocked. I think they're the clear lockdown winners of the NFC North. I think that you go on the road a couple of weeks ago against the Vikings and you get it done. You find a way to make it happen. Jared Goff's playing by far the best football of his career. I see him kind of like a CEO. He's the exec. He's saying, okay, bang. Hey, methodic, efficient. No incompletions. This guy doesn't throw incompletions, Jared Goff. It's mind-numbing. It's mind-numbing. And there's such a likable group. Amon-Ra St. Brown shows up with a hoodie, said Green Bay sucks. Green Bay, 1 word. Green Bay's 2 words. It's just a likable team. And you want to see this city's team play good ball because you got a lot of hard-working folks that they invest their hard-earned time and money into going and seeing this team play every Sunday. The Ford family has got some new young leadership, and I think it's really been a catalyst for this franchise, along with a lot of great decisions, personnel, coaching. Their GM's done a hell of a job. Look at this play by Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Dan Campbell gamble.
So here we go, 4th and goal for the Lions from just inside the Green Bay 3. Goff's got it back, looking, throwing, left side, wants on the ball. makes the grab. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, baby, what a throw that time by Jared Goff. Amon-Ra spinning and making the catch, getting 2 feet down, and the Lions take the lead. The Dan Campbell gamble pays off.
St. Brown, man, is just a guy that seems like a damn workhorse. This guy's been training to be in the NFL since he was 7 or 8 years old. His dad was a bodybuilder, had him in the weight room from the time he was a little kid, and there's clips of Amon-Ra as like a 6, 7, 8-year-old out there saying, his dad's talking to him, and he's saying, like, we're going to go to the NFL, right? We're going to make it to the NFL. And, of course, Amon-Ra as a kid's like, yep, I'm going to be in the NFL. I think that's the power of speaking something into existence, figuring out what you want to do and why it's important to you, and then doing everything you can in front of you to make that happen. And you see it even on that route. Like, it was a hell of a route. It looked like an out route at first. He kind of stuttered back inside and then pivoted away to the back half of the back corner of the end zone where he, makes a play on a back shoulder ball in the rain on 4th and goal. This Lions team just seems like destiny's got it figured out for them. We'll see when it gets to January, but I think without question they're probably the best team in the league. We know Kansas City advanced their undefeated record on Monday Night Football, but they've eked by like 3 or 4 games that they probably should have lost. That's the hallmark of a great team, though, is when you figure out how to do it when you don't play your best ball. I know that. But in terms of the eye test, like, the Lions are better than the Chiefs right now. I don't know how anyone could cut it any different way than that. Take a look at Amon-Ra's celebration, dude. A little quick screen grab of that. That was a meme. I knew that was a meme. I always wonder how much time these guys put into thinking about their touchdown celebrations. It probably varies by guy. I don't know if he just did that or if he premeditated that. A lot more of these guys premeditate celebrations than I'm privy to, I think. Just hearing the questions the reporters ask, like, did you guys premeditate that? And most of the time they say, yeah. One player put it really interestingly. He said, if we premeditate our touchdown celebration, I think it was a guy from the Vikings. He said, if we premeditate our touchdown celebration throughout the week, then we're setting ourselves up for success to actually go and score a touchdown mentally. Again, I think it's that visualization factor. It's like, if you can, Conor McGregor talks about this too, if you can visually imagine yourself in the octagon doing exactly what you said you're going to do or exactly what you think you're going to do, and you can see it happening, then it's much more likely that the universe or God is going to take that frequency you're emitting by visualizing that moment and make it into reality. That was a deep spiritual point, just talking about football, huh? Okay, so the Ravens, they beat the shit out of the Broncos. Bo Nix is having quietly one of the better rookie quarterback seasons other than Jaden Daniels. But we're going to show a clip of the big boy for the Ravens, Pat Ricard, getting in on a quick little out route.
Checks in. Lamar takes the snap, rolls out, throws. Pat Ricard, touchdown Ravens. What a creative play call by offensive coordinator Todd Monken. He brought Derrick Henry back in. 70,000 fans and every member of the Broncos had their eyes on Derrick Henry. Off the play fake, Lamar Jackson throws it to Pat Ricard.
Okay. I mean, I think it was a good play call. I don't think it was a creative play call. Like, you got an I formation, you do a play fake, fullback runs an out route, you're close to the end zone, you toss it up. I mean, but there's something that warms my heart about seeing a big fullback catching a touchdown pass. It might be because when I was a young fella, I was a fullback. And when those plays were called and your boy got the chance to score a touchdown instead of lead block for once, it always warmed your heart. If getting in the end zone, I still remember that feeling from when I was little of scoring a touchdown. It's like a dopamine hit of all dopamine hits, you know. And I think Pat Ricard, the fullback for the Ravens, I think that guy's like 300 pounds. I can't imagine meeting him in the A-gap. I can't imagine. And then let's say you get off of Pat Ricard's block. Then you got Derrick Henry to deal with. You got to actually take him down, make the play. I'd probably just chop at Derrick Henry's knees, dude. I always felt like as a player, I'm talking about me right now, as a player, I took pride in being the guy that would hit and stick my nose in there. But if I had to tackle Derrick Henry, I would probably just dive at his ankles and pray that I don't get exposed on film. You know, and then you got 300-pound Pat Ricard. I can't imagine what it feels like to meet that guy in the A-gap. Nonetheless, he gets out on an out route, gets in for 6. Tally 6 for the fullbacks. Week 9. What do we got next? Ravens beat the Broncos 41-10, I believe. Yes, 41-10. Okay, couple left. So the Bengals, going into this game, I didn't have high expectations because whenever I have high expectations for the Bengals, I seem to be disappointed miserably. And so I just kind of left this one up to the football gods in terms of my fandom. And I said, Lord, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost this game, but we need to win it. And we played ball, man. Joe Burrow, 5 touchdown passes. Still wasn't happy with it, which I appreciate because our record's still 4-5. Got the tight ends involved. Mike Gesicki goes for 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown goes for 100+ on the ground for the first time in his career. And the Bengals just got Khalil Herbert over from the Bears in a trade. Again, we'll talk about trades here in a couple minutes. But here's a highlight from the Bengals-Raiders game.
3 receivers left, 1 right. Joe has the ball. Looking left.
They thought that was a screen to Chase.
He's at the 20, middle of the field, 10, 5, touchdown! Wow. 47 yards, touchdown pass, number 5 for Joe Burrow to tie his career.
He's still pissed off. I love that about Joey B, dude. I love that because until we're at the top, he's not going to be happy. I love that about Joe Burrow, dude. I love it. You know, even in the post-game speech by Zach Taylor in the locker room, he's all like, you guys did great. You guys did this. You defense, you stepped up. Offense, we did what we had to do. And then Joe Burrow's like, follows up Zach Taylor after that. And it says, big fucking game Thursday. You guys better get fucking strapped up and ready. And even in the post-game interview, they're like, 5 touchdown passes. You've matched your career high. You've done this. You've done that. Hey, puppy. Hey, puppy. This is my puppy. This is my puppy. Hello, puppy. Hello, puppy. Hi, puppy. Little cameo appearance there. But, dude, so, you know, I like that Burrow's not happy with what's going on. I like that he knows that one good game doesn't mean a championship season. You know what I mean? I know that he knows that 1 first down doesn't mean you're going to win the game. I like that about Joe Burrow. I like that the Bengals got the tight ends involved in this game. I think Sample scored 1. Gesicki got 2. I think Iosovas, even though he's a receiver, got 1. Chase Brown gets 1. I think that's 5 touchdowns. They scored 41 points, so 2 other field goals. Bengals at 4-5 must win in Baltimore on Thursday night on the road. I'm going to take my biased fan emotional brain here and say that the Bengals win it. And they get back to 500. And they figure it out. Hope I'm not disappointed. Please, God, don't make me disappointed. Okay, this happened on Thursday. I think this was the catch of the year right here.
Four-man rush. Rodgers to the end zone.
That's the catch of the year.
Can he one-handed and stay in bounds?
The only chance would be the knee if it came down. He has to. Oh, what a catch.
Jets beat the Texans 21-13. And the thing, so I saw this Garrett Wilson catch being compared to the OBJ catch on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys 10 or so years ago. Here's the difference, okay? Here's what could be the difference for the Jets, okay? That OBJ catch is still played to this day. That Giants team was terrible. And so even though it was a remarkable catch, didn't really mean much. If the Jets at, what's their record? If the Jets at 3-6 can make that Garrett Wilson catch the turning point in their season and they get hot, that catch could arguably be put above OBJ's catch all those years ago that's still played on repeat. That's my hot take for the week. Garrett Wilson's catch against the Texans will be revered more than OBJ's historic catch on Sunday night against the Cowboys if the Jets can get hot and turn their season around. Okay, let's get into some trades. The deadline is approaching very fast. It might already be closed by the time this episode drops. So let's take a look. Let's just get the rough terms of some of the biggest deals. Ravens acquire Tre'Davious White from the Rams. Okay, so the Rams traded White and a 2027 7th-round pick to the Ravens for a 6th-round pick. Okay, White's 29. He's got a 1-year, $4.25 million contract, and he's only played 4 games and broken up 2 balls. So he's been a healthy scratch the last 4 weeks. Hasn't played. He's not the same after tearing his ACL in 2021. Tore his Achilles in 2023. And he used to be one of the best cornerbacks in the league, but the Bills cut him. So the Ravens, it's like, okay, we got a high upside bet here. We gave away virtually nothing, a late draft pick. And the Rams, they handled a tough situation with class. I mean, White is not the same player he was. They gave him permission to seek a trade due to lack of playing time, and the Rams were invested in finding him a good spot. So, and that's kind of the theme, is like guys that are great players are getting traded away to find places where they might fit schematically a little better. That's what's happening with Khalil Herbert going to the Bengals. So let's get down to that trade, huh? So Bengals are desperate for running back depth. Zach Moss hurt his neck, out indefinitely. Hasn't really been producing at the rate that they would hope that he's been producing at anyway. And so the Bengals and the Bears link up to trade for Khalil Herbert. The Bears have been giving DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson the majority of the reps. Khalil Herbert hasn't played, hasn't taken a rep the last 2 weeks, and the Bengals don't have much running back depth other than Chase Brown. So I think this is an A+ for the Bengals. We have not made this is so think about this. So Khalil Herbert's traded to the Bengals mid-season. The Bengals have only made an in-season trade one other time in the last 50 years. I'll repeat that. The Bengals have made one in-season trade outside of this transaction in the last 50 years. So make that 2 in-season trades for the Bengals in the last 50 years. I think this is a positive sign for this team, I think it's a sign that, no, we're not going to accept complacency. We're not going to accept jersey sales and ticket sales coming in every year to just go 9-7, 9-8. No, the Bengals have made a move for a running back that could really help this offense a lot down the stretch of the season. And I think, so here's the terms of the deal. Khalil to Cincinnati for a 2025 seventh-round pick. And the fact that the Bengals have only rostered 12 rookies this season shows that a seventh-round pick is for virtually nothing. So you got a lot of upside and you got limited downside. I really like this trade by the Bengals. Set aside the fact that I'm biased. Marshawn Lattimore is headed to the Commanders. The Saints, like I said, have just completely spiraled the last 7 weeks. Lost 7 in a row. They fire their head coach, and now they're trading cornerback Marshawn Lattimore and a 2025 fifth-round pick to the Commanders for a 2025 third, fourth, and sixth rounder. Marshawn Lattimore is going to be a bona fide CB1 for this Commanders team. I'm sure he's fired up to be headed to a team that's 7-2, okay? And he's been hurt a couple times. He's missed 17 games the last 2 years, I believe, so he might be a bit of an injury liability. But here's the thing. This was a pretty significant return for the Saints to get all those draft picks. And you know your season's probably over. And Marshawn Lattimore is one of their best players, or was one of the best players for the Saints. So I think it's a good move on both sides. I'm trying to Steelers get Mike Williams from the Jets. The Jets traded Williams to the Steelers for a fifth-round draft pick. Williams was never really a fit for the Jets. He tore his ACL last year with the Chargers, signs a 1-year, $10 million contract with the Jets, hoping to find a spark with Aaron Rodgers, and it never really materialized. The move kind of seemed inevitable when Aaron Rodgers called out Mike Williams for running the wrong route a couple weeks ago in their loss to the Vikings. He's got that big playability. Russell Wilson's got that ability to push the ball downfield. I mean, it could be a really good upside bet for the Steelers. And I think the Jets have the receiver room to not really miss Mike Williams. I mean, they're solid return. Like, Williams just never was a fit with Aaron Rodgers. They missed on the signing. The Jets missed on signing him. Like, you know, it was probably too late in Williams' career, and maybe it just wasn't a fit. But they missed on the signing, but I think they did well with the trade, getting a fifth-round pick for Williams when I believe they flipped a rental player for a Saturday pick, and they unloaded salary cap in the process. Okay. Any other trade worth covering? There's been a lot. We're getting close to the deadline here. Zadarius Smith is headed to the Detroit Lions from the Cleveland Browns. Browns traded him and a 2026 seventh-round pick to the Lions for a 2025 fifth-round pick and a 2026 sixth-round pick. The Lions needed to replace Aiden Hutchinson. That's the main motion behind this trade. Obviously, the Browns are spiraling. They have to clear up veteran cap space in order to pay Watson $72 million a year for the next 2 years. Really bad situation in Cleveland. But, I mean, you kind of have to do this if you're the Browns. You kind of have to start dealing veteran players that, you know, are gonna hit your cap space, because you got to pay Deshaun Watson, dude. And the Lions, they get a decent deal out of this. They get someone to maybe add a little pressure, not completely fill the void Aiden Hutchinson left, but it should do for the Lions. Let's see. We might be wrapping it up here, folks. Let's see if we got anything else. Steelers acquire Preston Smith. I remember what he looks like. I can't remember what number he is, like 94 or something. Packers get a 7th-round pick for Preston Williams. Preston Smith. I don't know, man. That might be it. I was hoping the Bengals might trade for Max Crosby, but maybe we don't. Maybe, it'd be great to have Max Crosby's help in Cincinnati, but Trey Henderson had 4 sacks on Saturday. He was playing some ball. So, I don't know, man. We're kind of at that point in the season. Teams starting to get midterm grades. Okay, I'd give the Bengals a D+ based on expectations. So hopefully they can make it an A+ down the stretch here, bring a Super Bowl home to Cincinnati. I just really went on a tangent there. But no, man, I think that's it. That's all the news, all the game highlights, all the trades from the best podcast in professional football, In the Jar. Make sure you like this video. Comment, please, what you think about the show, what you like, what you might not like, things you'd like to see us cover. And it takes half a millisecond. Hit that subscribe button and let's send this thing on up, because we're going to keep showing up for you. So do us a favor, show up for us real quick. Really appreciate it. This is episode 42 of In the Jar with your boy, Duke. We'll see you next week.